Okay. I think that's a great comment and question. I think that it's not just restricted to remote communities, it's everywhere. As I was saying earlier, we know we've got excellent measurements of our mental health and physical health, and we know across the board some areas, for instance, our suicide rate is twice that of other Australians. But if you do break it down and disaggregate those statistics, there's some age groups that are more vulnerable and some regions that have higher rates of suicide.
So Indigenous youth suicide rates across the top half of Australia is the highest in the world.
Yes.
Why is that?
Some researchers say that. So
why is that happening?
As I was saying before, I think that it does come from a history of colonisation. Now, that's a very close thing to us. A lot of people, when they hear about colonisation, say, oh, you know, get over it, that was a long time ago. That's still with us. We did have the takeover of our lands. We had people being put into missions and reserves, and we were treated very much like second-class citizens. And that's close. I've actually read my own family's native welfare files, as they call it, and I was also serving on the parole board of Western Australia at the time. And the things that Aboriginal people had to go through just to live a normal life. They had to ask permission to move towns, permission to get a job, and so on and so on. And it was like they were on parole. And if you did anything to breach that, you could be put away. You could be sent to a mission or a reserve far away from your own country.
One of the really puzzling things is that youth suicide rates in Indigenous communities have leapt in the last generation. They seem to have gone up hugely.
Absolutely.
Now, why would that be? What's changed?
I think that as a consequence of all that, we have incredible Indigenous disadvantage. There is a sense that we have moved on, and we haven't in some ways. So I think we're seeing the fruits of all the things that have gone before. And there's some good programs up. We need more of them, and there's all sorts of different interventions that we need to put in place. Some will be immediate response, but also we need to empower communities themselves and Indigenous people to take charge of their own issues and help them develop programs and implement them that can deal with all those issues. So I think it is a consequence of a period of history, and it may well get worse before it gets better.